Hello, everybody. Today is October 7th, and I watched The Smashing Machine today. Um, yeah, it's wine today. I told you that it would make an appearance, and it did. Um, yeah, so I went and saw Smashing Machine after classes today, and this movie, I think it suffers from trying too hard, if that makes sense, because this movie, I really appreciate how this movie is a biopic that subverts all of the biopic tropes. Um, Fair warning, spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the film. I don't give a shit about, anything. But, um, it subverts all the biopic tropes that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing the guy get the girl in the end. We're used to seeing the guy win everything afterwards. A happy ending, a blah blah blah, whatever. We're used to seeing victory, and in this movie, there is not a lot of victory at all. And I can appreciate Benny Safdie for taking this approach. Because this is a very heartbreaking story, and it's a very um, fragile story to tell, especially of um, forgot his name, Mark Kerr. You know, because his story is very sad and it's very heartfelt and it's very hard. And I think this movie does a great job at subverting the biopic expectations and telling the story in the way that it's supposed to be told. Now, I still think it falls flat in that area. Um, and I don't think Benny Safdie, I don't know. I'm a fan of Benny Safdie. I'm a fan of the Safdie brothers. I think they're great. I think they're excellent. I think Uncut Gems is so good. Good Time is great. And just some of their other works, or his, even Benny Safdie's acting, I am a fan of. I like him a lot. And I went into this movie with little to no expectations because I wasn't sure what I was, gonna get into. All the critics said, wow. All the critics said, wow, this is a great movie. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is reviving his career. He's showing out that he can actually act. And then the public is like, it's an alright film. It's gonna do. It did shit at the box office first weekend. It's not the Dwayne The Rock Johnson we're used to. And so we aren't really meshing with it. Which fair, Dwayne The Rock Johnson has a brand. He fits into a category. And that category is very niche and very specific. And so many Dwayne The Rock Johnson fans aren't going to watch this film. Or they're going to be disappointed because it's not the action comedy that he always does. It's not the same character he always does. But I'll get into that a little more later. But I think this movie suffers because it is trying too hard. There are some very stylistic choices in this film through its editing, through its cinematography, Jesus, that you could tell Benny Safdie wanted to create an amazing work. And in ways he does. But in other ways he's just it's trying too hard to be that standout movie. To be the, hey, look, Dwayne The Rock Johnson can act. Hey, look, biopics don't have to, fall into the general criteria. And so I think, well, yes, this film does well in those areas. It's still not hitting, No pun intended. And I can see where the critics are coming from. But I I guess I'll get into the discussion of Oscar bait. Oscar bait movies. It's stupid to say a movie is an Oscar bait movie, in my opinion, because every single movie is being produced with the hope that it gets praise, that it gets applause, that it gets accolades. Every single movie, whether they admit it or not, wants to be critically acclaimed. Every movie does. And so saying that a movie is Oscar bait, well, yeah, could kind of be true in some senses, especially with these biopics. However, it's dumb to say this movie was produced only so that they can win Oscars. But then again, every single movie wants to do well at the box office. Every single movie wants to do well at the Oscars, win awards, win BAFTAs, win everything. You name it, any award. And so I think it's dumb to say this movie was solely an Oscar bait movie. This movie is solely to get so and so award or so and so credit. But then again, the Oscars do tend to, mesh and vibe with other things more often. They really do like their biopics, and you can't debate that. They love their biopics. They love an underdog story. They love old actor finally shows that that's stupid. Rewind. They love it when they can finally give an older actor credit for their career. I'm thinking of the Angelina, was Angelina Jolie nominated last year? No, but her movie was. You know, Nothing's coming to mind. But like, you get what I'm saying, is that Oscars have, you know, they do have this criteria of we like to see these things and we like to honor these things. Biopics are one of those. Actor who has been acting for a while, who's trying to get critical acclaim, is one of those. And this movie fits into both because it's a biopic, you know, and it's a unique biopic that subverts expectations. And then it's also Dwayne The Rock Johnson's film to prove that he has the chops for acting. It's, yes, he's still in a fighting role. However, he stars the most when he's not fighting. And so I think this movie annoyingly will get Oscar buzz. I don't think it deserves it, but I think it will just because it fits in the criteria. However, if it gets Oscar buzz, I think it should be for the music, for the sound. The soundtrack and the score of this film blew me away. And I loved it. I loved the anxiety inducing that it caused. I loved how it fit. I loved the multiple different instruments that were being played. The saxophone stood out so well. It was so good. And so, this film, yeah, is gonna get Oscar buzz because critics love it. They love an underdog story of a actor showing their worth. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I don't think he deserves a nomination. I don't think he will get a nomination. But you never know. Benny Safdie, his first film by himself, without his brother. I don't think this film is going to perform as well as Marty Supreme, but that one also has Timothée Chalamet. So, and Gwyneth Paltrow. So, it's really hard to, distinguish the two. But the Oscar debate is tiring and annoying to have. However, you must have it when you look at a film like this. Now, getting into The Rock, because I think he does very well in this film. There are moments where I'm like, okay, one scene stands out where he's in the hospital and he's suddenly starts to cry, and it's like the acting's iffy. That's one scene where he's like, he pulls up the thing, he's like, and it's so immediate and so like, oh, okay, whatever. But there are times in this film where I forget that it's The Rock acting, which is it's sadly it's the best compliment I can give him, because I'm not a crazy Rock fan. I'm not. I find his acting sometimes phoned in. I find it tiresome that he plays the same character in every single film. He works with the same people. He does this, that. He checks boxes on every single film. And it is tiring. And also, I'm not sure how much I like his character. Like his self-worth. Because it does seem like he's kind of a sellout. Kind of an asshole. Kind of pretentious. But I think this film has changed my mind on that through his reactions to the box office is doing bad. He's not freaking out about it. He's not being an asshole about it. He's being like, we can't. I'm pretty sure he literally said, we don't control the box office, so we shouldn't worry about it. Yeah. Great. That's a great quote to say in reaction to your movie doing bad. That's perfect. I'm going to be honest. And so going to this film, I was like, okay, they say it's the Rock revival. I'm not sure how much I believe it. Still a little iffy on it. But this movie proves that he has the ability to be a good actor. To stretch his wings more and not be Jungle Man with shirt off or funny big guy. And, when you compare him to the other WWE fighters that have turned to acting, John Cena and Dave Bautista, it's laughable to compare those three. Because, first off, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is nowhere near either of them. Dave Bautista is an incredible actor. And then John Cena has the ability to be a great actor. And so I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson needs to up his game a little bit in order to be in that conversation of, look at these former WWE wrestlers who turned to acting and now they're showing their worth. But I think BJ does very well in this film. Because, yeah, I forgot that I was watching a Rock movie. I forgot. There were multiple times where I'm like, oh shit. That's the guy from Red One. That's the guy from Journey to the Center of the Earth. That's the guy from Tooth Fairy. I forgot that multiple times. And I think it is through his subtle acting that stands out. Because this movie does not really focus on the fighting as much, but rather the drugs and addiction and relationship issues. And in this story, we have a lot of quiet moments, silent moments, tough moments. And these moments are where you see The Rock shine in this film. He's not being outlandish. He's not being, animated. He's broken down. He's trying to control himself. And it's great. In these subtle moments and the subtle acting really shines, really shows his worth, really shows that he's got this through his little mannerisms, through his face, through how he walks. It's funny to see a huge UFC fighter having these super emotional scenes where he must control himself, where he's about to break down, where and it's again, like I said, this story is very hard. It's very hard to portray. It's very hard to tell because it's heartbreaking. And I think DJ does very well. Very, very good in what he's able to do. I think the movie limits him a little bit through his interactions or through, the story beats it has to go through. Because if this movie completely took out all of the UFC stuff, I say UFC, but it's Pride 1. I'm pretty sure that's Pride. If it took out all the Pride stuff, as in wrestling, not, or fighting, not, if it took out all the MMA stuff, that's it. I think this film would have been completely more interesting. I was so much more invested in his recovery and his relationship issues rather than what was happening in the ring. And that may just be me. But then again, if you don't tell the ring stuff, this is not a Smashing Machine story. It's a marriage story, And so, yes, you have to hit those beats. But when those times where Dwayne can show his acting in those quiet moments, it's incredible. It's great. And it's very, good to think, he can actually do this. He has the capabilities to show his worth to be a great actor. Is he going to continue this? I don't know. I'm not sure. I hope so. I really want The Rock to act well, to show his worth, And I think this movie proves that he can. This movie is not the Rock revival that everyone says, but it's a step in the right direction for him. And I think that's great. Emily Blunt kills it per usual. I hated her character. And that is just due to her acting. It was... Put Emily Blunt in every single biopic as the woman in the relationship, and she blows it away. Emily Blunt is, in my opinion, one of the best actresses that is out there right now, and she deserves more praise and more applause and more credit. And I think that she will be a future Oscar winner. It won't be for this film. But she kills it per usual. Benny Safdie is directing, very stylized in this film, and I think it fits. For the most part, I think it fits. There are times where the tone shifts or the camera, the editing style shifts or the movement shift, but for the most part, it's pretty stable. It's pretty good. You get the uncomfortable zooms in while the music paces up and everything, and you can see a lot of uncut gems within this film. It's, you get the same vibe a lot of the time, and you can definitely, now watching this film, I can think back to uncut gems and be like, okay, these things were Benny, and that's just how it is. But I think this film is overhyped by critics, but underhyped by everyone else. And I think that's where I stand, is I didn't love this film, but I don't dislike it. I think this is a good film that beat my expectations. But it falters in so many aspects. And it's not unforgivable, but it's a, uh, type of thing. But, I guess that's a review of Smash Machine. I watched this at 3:30, 4. I finished a psychology of personality exam right before this film, and that exam pissed me off. And so I was like, okay, let me reset by going to the movie theater and watching this film. And I think it definitely helped. I will say that. But yeah, it's October 7th. Watched this film around 3:30. Well, got ads started at 3:30, so movie started at 4. Got done around 6. Um, I think people need to go watch this film. Yes, it's a biopic. I like biopics. I like learning about people, and so I'm not going to complain about a biopic for being a biopic. I like character study. I like character pieces, and so if you don't like biopics, just get over it. I'm going to be honest. Like, you know, but this film, it's a solid movie. It's a above average movie with very interesting things happening, very good acting at times, and I think it's a very good start of The Rock proving that he has what it takes. I think it's a very good start of Betty Safdie showing that he can be a director on his own and has a style that he can use to the fullest. I think this is Emily Blunt just showing Emily Blunt can be very good. And who the fuck are you? You are barely even in it. And then I think also Ryan Bader, um, who plays Mark Coleman, does very well. It's his first film. Um, and he is a former MMA fighter, like actual MMA fighter. I think he does a very good job bringing realness to the movie. But that is that's oh, ow, what the fuck? Why did my arm do? I don't know. That's my review. October 7th. This is where I watched. Still a little ways away from the horror movies that I should be watching during this time. But yeah, that's it. I hope you have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever you are, however you're doing. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying calm. I hope you're trying to be happy, and I hope you get some peace of mind in your life. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.